See, that's what I like. Bobby Bo is here, ready to go. Sometimes I go all the way up to live and then I wait for my coffee or cut my avocado up, and then so I don't have to leave. But hello, my Teaserking family, as I always say. Hello, Bobby Bo. Hope everybody's well. My back's coming and going. Just started to tighten up when I sat down now. It was fine all morning, and I slept fine. I wanted to share something with you that I found about the train in Ohio, and then I'll get off of this. So it's apparently like a freaking Chernobyl type of problem. The train collapsed and everything. I hate when that happens. I had something I was saving. Let's see. Yeah, I can't go. I got to go to history. Well, it was about the train wreck. So the train wreck. Yeah, just a second. It was.
Next time you see this plant in your backyard, don't cut it down, because this is the best natural painkiller you'll ever find. Some people even compare it to more. Pumping out all this stuff.
Anyway, I'll just. Sure. Anyway, what they said was the people that owned the trains were our best friends. JP Morgan. No, not JP Morgan. Warren Buffett, Vanguard, that crazy guy, and our favorite BlackRock. So they were the owner of the trains that crashed, or the railroad. I think they were the owner of the railroad. And look what happened. And then no media coverage. You can't have media comfort. It's coming from China. And on TikTok is where you're getting the media coverage. But fish are dying. It's a terrible thing. This guy had all his pets are dying, the dogs or anybody that's out. So keep that in mind. Was this planned or not? I don't know. But I think I was seeing a YouTube on it happening in Detroit today or in the last few days. So I gotta be careful. So that's some more bad news, but we don't know how related it is. So just be careful. But what bothers you is when they don't have the news. Like it's like 9/11. Well, it's a terrorist attack. That's it. And they tell you that because they can't hide that, but they didn't want to hide it. They wanted to show you so you'd be scared and we need the government. Something like this was, I don't know if it was planned or not planned, but they don't want it out there, right? So they don't want you to even know this train crash. And this is supposedly like chlorine in the air and it's all on fire. And there's these huge black clouds. People thought they were clouds. And they're like, no, they're not clouds. This is the mushroom cloud, not the actual, like it's a sunny day out. It's not, these are not clouds of that. Anyway, so you have that. Gold and silver. Let's see what gold's doing today. people keep there's 20 ways to tell this story. I was listening to some guy, and instead of calling inflation, it's prices. It's well, they devalued the money. They're scared to call anything. Is silver on the brink of extinction? What a stupid headline. Let's see what gold's doing. Gold's down $8, it looks like. Let's see. And it's 12 o'clock, so we would have gotten our 10 o'clock drop. So silver's at 21.84 today in fantasy land, and gold is down to 18.33. So you can see gold at 10 o'clock takes the dive down, and then it goes back up, and now it's diving again. So all we know is the price fix is at 10. So at 10, it went down to 18.36. At 11, not even at 10:15, 10:30, goes up to 18.41. Now at noon, it's dropping down to 18.34. This is all bullshit, we know, but we know the 10 o'clock price fix. Now, probably interest rates are up, so they're going to, the dollar's stronger, so gold and silver down. The Dow's 500, which is, again, fantasy. So I was watching this show, and they're talking about different, the economies, interest rates have been low, so stocks have been high. And then it takes Warren Buffett to figure out when the interest rates go up, stocks go down. Really? He thought of that? I didn't think of that. Nobody else. So Warren Buffett, anyway, so of course things cost more. And that's what I explained it in very simple terms. Most people, even though they're explaining it, it's very hard to understand, but it takes somebody like me to understand it. Because I know what I don't need them to explain. When things are more expensive, you sell less of them and you make less profit on it, right? So again, if it costs more to make my Canadian club, if my costs have gone up, there's the bottle and the label and my heat and electricity and all. If my costs go up, how am I going to make the same profit? So my profit drops, and then, we'll just raise the prices. But how many people are understanding the market, right? This is the market price. You can sell for it. Your costs went up. You still want to make your margins, so you need to sell it here. But people, this is the market, right? Same thing with my ribs, right? I do that because it's a pretty simple one to follow. You can't, if you try to sell it at, your market's probably $20 for ribs. You probably lost a lot of people at 27, I would imagine, already. Now, if you go to 30 or 35, you're going to lose more. So that's what you realize. So, of course, it affects the market. Now, I explain this to you guys every day just to make sure you get it and new people watch it and things like that. And anyway, but this is when you listen to these people on these different networks, you don't know what it's explained 10 different ways, so you get confused, and I think they do it on purpose. They don't want to tell you inflation's devaluing the currency by increasing supply of dollars, right? You print a bunch, value drops. They don't want to tell you that. So they'll come up with all these different, let's look at the CPI, and measure that for inflation, which you can't do because that's not what inflation is. It's just prices. So if the guy raises his prices at the rib place from 20 to 27. Is that inflation? No, it's not inflation. He raised his price. His cost went up. Is that inflation? No, it's just that when you devalue the money, that's what happened. So that's what you have to understand. You're devaluing the money. You're making it worth less. Now, how can that happen, Howard? What do you mean the money's worth less? Well, when you don't have it backed by anything solid, the more you print of the value, the more the less it's worth, the more you ruin it, right? So let's go to Topps baseball cards. Pick a Barry Sanders rookie. It's not worth that much versus a limited one. Or look at the Jordan 86 Flair card. There's not a lot of PSA 10s because they fucked up the quality of the card. That it's hard to get one centered to get a 10 on. Most of them are way off center, so there's very few 10s. Or as Nick says, he's looking to buy a 20 count or 25 count Joe Burrow card or Mahomes card. That's why you do it. Hey, and I can't pronounce your name. Miss Martinez, I'll say. You're welcome. And please, if you have questions or comments, please feel free to ask them. This is supposed to be like a class setting where you would ask the teacher and he'd try to answer it for you. So please feel free to ask questions or comments like Bobby and Phil do and Nick. But so there's a reason I tell Nick to buy, limited edition Burrow cards or Mahomes cards or Brady cards, because there's far fewer of them and therefore they have a higher value. If you were to find a Mickey Mantle rookie card and it was PSA 10, the thing would be worth $100 million because there can't be more than 5 of them out there because it's 52 tops. I mean, how many? So when there's very few out there, then it becomes demand. So if we take this out, the demand. So you have a Mickey card. Well, Bobby, we would love to say yours, but you need another 500 home runs. But I mean, if you so let's say Bobby hit 600 home runs. Let's keep it in the family. So Bobby hit 600 home runs. They made mistakes. They didn't count it right. And Bobby's rookie card now, PSA 10, the one he's in his White Sox uniform but there's not a lot of them limited. So there's very few. And the demand for the Bobby Bo card is huge because everybody in our class is going to buy one because it's Bobby Bo. So we want to back our fellow family. So when demand's very high and the supply is very low, the price is very high. So I show you that in that Trish Speaker 1906 card. It's, what is it, $20 million? And who cares about Trish Speaker? I think Bobby had a better batting average than him. But they only made 6 or 7 of the cards. And the condition of the card from, what is it, 1902 or 1906, it's a PSA 2. And it gets like $20 million because there's only a few of them. So what is inflation? So inflation is all of a sudden they find 10,000 of these Trish Speaker cards. Wait a minute, there's only supposed to be 2. Yeah, some guy had them in his attic, and now there's 10,000. What would happen to the price? It would drop because there's more supply. And is there as much demand for a 20,000 count Trish Speaker card as there is for, 5, right? And so when demand exceeds supply is when prices go up. So if there's huge demand for Bobby's card, but there's not a lot of PSA 10s, what happens? The price goes up because the demand will want the card and raise the price. Okay, that's the point. But if they printed 1 million of the Bobby cards, like his Topps rookies, probably not worth a lot. I think $30-$40. Well, look at Barry's. His isn't worth that much either, a couple hundred. But because they made so many of them, it doesn't supersede demand, or demand doesn't run to it because it's not limited. So demand really loves a limited card. I have 25 count Brady's. I have a rookie Brady 700. I think they made the Vanguard with he's in the Michigan helmet. That's like $20,000 as a PSA 10 because they only made 700 of them. So then, because it's limited, you'll get stronger demand for it, which makes the price go up, right? If I can't get it, I want it. And if I want it, I'll pay more for it. And there's not a lot of them. And that's not considered, to me, that's a low count, but I don't know how low it is. That's my girlfriend watching me on YouTube, but I doubt it because I don't know, which one is this? My Russian one. She's got dental problems she's telling me about. Anyway, so the card's worth so much, right? There's more demand when supply is low, right? Is it because of the player or is it because of the supply being low? Either way, the more the demand, the more the price. So we all see where I'm going, which is my goal, but that's what happens with higher demand. People will get into it with the higher price. The price goes up because people want it, right? So that's really the law of supply and demand, and that's just normal Austrian economics. So if there's not a lot of these Bobby Bow cards, let's say there's a 25 count Topps Red Label, right? 25 count, and that's what he's got. And the price is very high for these limited edition cards, right? That's why they're low, because they're limited edition. So because there's a lot of people that want, and there's not a lot out there, so that they'll bid the price up, right? I want it. There's only one, and two people want it. They're gonna depends how badly they want it, but the price is gonna go up. So what you have is just a second. So she's giving me a price in rubles. 2 implants will cost 90,000 rubles. So she thinks that's a lot of money. And then you're sitting there going, well, wait, the dollar is 70 to 1. So $100 is like 70,000 rubles. All of a sudden, it's a little over $100 to get her teeth done. But in her world, it's, oh my God, it's 90,000 rubles. That's where the FX changes it. But anyway, back to that. So I'm explaining gold and inflation at the same time. I love how my mind works. So if there's a very limited Brady card, and okay, let's go to Brady. He's got a very limited one. Demand's huge, right? So if demand's huge, if demand's really high for the card, that'll force the price up. So there's two things. Now, if it was Joe Brady, nobody would care. There wouldn't be any demand. So that's the first thing. So even though it's limited, if it's no demand, you're going to get $5 for the card, and it's probably by the guy and his father who are buying it. So depending on the player, which is why I go after stars. So Willie Mays, McMahon, Bobby Bowe, Barry Bonds, those type of guys, Mantle, Ruth, Gehrig. So the bigger the player, the bigger the demand. Now in this Trish Speaker scenario where there's only 5 or 6, I don't think Trish Speaker's like Mickey Mantle, right? He's not. The demand for Trish Speaker wouldn't be high. It's that there's only 5 of them. And that gets you what? $10 million for the card. But if it was but a regular Mantle card, the demand's much, much higher, and that's why his are probably worth the same $20 million that this Trish Speaker's worth. So that's why when I shop at a card show, I'm looking, or anything, I'm looking what the demand's going to be. So that's why I would have bought a Mickey Mantle, a Bobby Orr, a Willie Mays, a Bobby Bowe, is to get that to get the demand. Because I know if there's a lot of demand, let's take Mickey, for Mickey Mantle, if there's a lot of demand for him, I know the price is going to go up because they're going to want it. So are we going to sell out silver, Professor, since it's becoming extinct? That would make it go up in value because it's limited. It's exactly what I'm talking about. Let me read that article for you as I'm trying to make my point. Where was it? Do you like how I'm using you as the example today, Bobby? Is silver on the brink of extent? See, again, even the title, silver has been used as a form of money for thousands of years, dating back to the Romans. Everything dates back to the Romans. We don't care about the 5th century. It gets into all the history. Today, silver is recognized as a form of money in many companies and countries. Okay, so they haven't said anything. Silver's use as a currency, so they're going into the history and that people like it. When silver has not been used as money, yes, there have been times throughout history when silver has not been used by money, but that's not the case now. In the Middle Ages in Europe, of course, gold was the preferred currency. Silver was still a currency, you bubbleheads. Always return gold and silver because of their unique qualities. None of the world's currencies are backed by bringing. Yeah, that's right. Could the world actually run out of silver? See, that's a different headline. Could they run out of silver, not be extinct? Of course, because they're using it on demand for production and cell phones and computers. So they could, and it wears out. Silver is a finite resources and its supplies. So all this is saying is there's not a lot of it out there, which makes the price go to it'll make 2000 look like a joke because it'll be far higher. But that's my point. So again, it goes right into what my conversation is. Everybody wants Mantle or Bobby or I don't know, Joe Montana, Tom Brady, Bobby Bowe, right? So these guys, there's huge demand for. We'll pretend you hit 500 more home runs, Bobby. So there's huge demand for them. So because of that, the price doesn't stay down, it goes up. Okay? Because there's only 10 Mantle cards. So what do you think the price is going to be? It's going to be huge. Like the Trish Speaker 1906 card that Gretzky bought, and it's millions of dollars. For speaker is not. It's because there's only a few cards. I actually have a one of one Iserman. I think I've showed you before, but I can get it out and show you later. So how much demand is for Iserman, and it's only one. There's only one of them, so it should be worth a whole lot of money. Which is, I'll have to try to auction that off without getting it graded. Do I really need a PSA 10 one of one? I mean, it's only one of one. It's in gem mint conditions, perfect condition. If you're buying it, do you care if it's a PSA 10 or do you care that there's only one of them? Now, the Twist Speaker 1906 is getting $20 million. It's a PSA 2. It's a piece of crap. But there isn't any out there, so you don't have a choice. So people are buying it because it's expensive, because they want to make a return on their money. So when I have this card, as long as the demand's up here for an Iserman and it's one, I should get a big return. So if we carry this forward, where if there's demand, if it's Joe Thomas, the demand's down here, and then he's not going to get a price. So when you go to a card show, which is what I was trying to explain to Nick, is it should be up here. The price should be here. You want to get a demand here, get a Brady, get a Burrow. The demand will be here and the price will go up. So try to get it a Burrow, but down with the price down here, because it's not PSA 10 priced. The PSA 10 is much higher, like the Montana rookie. So you can see a PSA 10 Montana rookie is $100,000, and same with the Rice rookie. But yet the Elway rookies, PSA 10's like 5,000. How can that be, right? So that's the principle, right? If there's strong demand and not a lot of supply, then the price, you get a lot for the auction, right? The Mantle rookie card, PSA 10, you can't even find. Let's say it's a PSA 9. Demand for Mantle rookie cards, supply, how many PSA 9s are there? I don't know, 20. And then what do you think the price is? $10 million, probably more for a rookie. So now we've got the concept, right? If there's big demand and there's low supply, the price is high. What the fuck's happening to gold? Gold demand's here. Now, you've got to take into account central banks, China, Russia, India, our class. So you've got to take the whole world demand. So the demand's through the roof. Central banks are buying as much. So why are central banks buying it? But if they're buying it, I'm buying it. I'm buying it regardless if they're buying it. So you have huge demand. What is the supply of gold? Well, it's far lower than the demand, right? So everybody wants it. The supply is down here. So what should happen? The price should go to there. That's kind of, in a different way, what I've been showing you all along, that if demand's here, price should go here. And that as with the Mantle, that's what it is, right? You get a Mantle rookie, you get the Jordan rookie. How many 10s are there? It's like $1 million. It's over $1 million card for an 86 Flair. I got the Isaiah Thomas rookie in that set, and it looks pretty mint. Larry Bird and Magic Johnson, they're not the rookie cards, but they're in there mint. They're worth a couple thousand. They're not worth $1 million, because it's hard to get a centered card. And everybody, Jordan's the GOAT, and da-da-da-da-da. I think that's why they do it with LeBron. I think it's a hidden thing to get the value of his cards up. He's the GOAT. I want his rookie card to go up. Now, I do have a couple of LeBron rookie cards that I really got. I don't really like LeBron, but I really got him because I knew they're all making a big deal out of him. I should get his card. So I got 2 or 3 rookies. And I got a really nice, expensive $30,000 one that has to be graded. Get it graded PSA 10. Anyway, so that's what happens. So the bigger the demand, depending on supply. So in the Michael Jordan hoops card for 1989, that yellow one I showed you, I'll show you to you now. So we have this Michael Jordan card, but if you notice it's yellow, which is very rare because it's normally a white set. This came from Sears. It was strictly Sears, and they yellowed it. Now this is limited, but this card's not worth. I think this card's worth $1,000 PSA 10, and this one looks pretty fucking centered to me. And it's amazing. I opened like 6 or 7 of these boxes, and I had trouble getting a centered card of Jordan. Like a lot of them were off center. So let's say this is $1,000 PSA 10. But why, is the demand for, do people even know this existed? Because at card shows in the 90s, we knew, but now, do you even know this card exists? Probably not. You probably don't know what it is. You see it's yellow. You probably don't even pay attention to hoops. You probably go after his 86 card. This is part of it, is making people aware this card exists. And therefore, you probably want to buy it because it's very limited, but it's normal cards white. So this is yellow. So do we have demand for Jordan? Yes. Do we have big supply of this yellow hoops sold from Sears? Supply is probably here. Price is we don't know where price is versus demand, considering his rookie card is over $1 million. And that's really what the issue is getting, all these cards. But that's why you go after a Jordan, like a unique card, right? Because it's not. Now I have boxes of this hoops thing. I'll look in my closet in a minute and just see if I can just quickly see it. But basically, we went to Sears and we got like 10 boxes. They were like $10 a box. So I got 10 of them, knowing who cares about $100 and knowing they were yellow. So, they weren't that limited, but, most people probably aren't going there. Oh, it's hoops. I'm not going to waste my time. It's a nice card, but it's unique. Then we go here to this is a 1983 Walter Payton. You can see perfect condition. Well, everybody loves Walter Payton. More dramatic, 85 beers, more dramatic. The poor guy died. So that really makes this card, demand is through the roof. Now it's tops, so supply's through the roof. It's a perfectly centered card, so supply for a 10 is down here, because we know tops, they don't have the centering right. But we know demand's here. So what would price be? Price should be here. So when we get that concept, something really demanded, then it goes to how many did they make? So again, the Tris speaker, they made 6. That's all they can find. So it's $5 million at least. Gretzky, I think, sold it for $2 million. That was what, 10 years ago? So if you have a short supply and high demand, you get a high price because a lot of people want it and there's only so much to go around. Therefore, the price goes up. So in the real world, in prices and whatever, the first thing you want is demand. Now, that's when I talk about the electric vehicles. Is there demand for the electric vehicles? Well, that's kind of like what we get into Say's Law. I'm going to make the Payton because, people want Payton, so I'm going to make it. People want Jordan, so he's going in the set. Some of these other guys, Rick Mahorn probably is not in the set, but Jordan is. So who I'm putting in the set should be, Say's Law, should be people we want, right? That's the first thing. Then it becomes how limited is the set. That's why, so when you're going for card collecting, you want to get the Jordan, the Payton, Bobby Bo, of course, and you want to get them in a limited capacity. So now, see, when I was doing this, it was actually my idea. So when I went to the show in 1991 and I got this, There was very few limited. I don't think there was any limited cards that had numbers like this. So here's a Drew Brees card. See how easy I'm walking today? So here's a Drew Brees card. This is from his, I think, 2001, 2002. This is his rookie card. Now, if we look at it, it's numbered out of 556. You can thank me for that because I kind of was telling the Beckett guy, there was a Beckett guy at the card show, and I'd say, well, you need limited cards. I mean, they make 1 million of these. So how many were made of this? Who the hell knows? How many were made of this? Nobody knows. We know there was only 556 Drew Brees rookie cards out of Topps Heritage. Pretty looking card. Brees is this a refractor? I don't think so. No, I don't. It doesn't matter. So again, now it came into limited. So is there 556 Drew Brees demand people? And then here's a limited supply. So we don't know supply here, but it is centered. So we know that's pretty limited. And then we got this card. So if you like Drew Brees, this is his rookie, 556. So they started to numbering them because I told them to. Because there's so many different markets. As I showed you the other day, the Jordan card, I mean, you could see this card in 10 auctions, and it could go from $1,000 to $700 to $2,000 to $600. Each auction's a different market. There isn't one set price for this. So you got to realize that and understand that you got to figure out the best way to sell it because we don't know what the market is for it. So with that said, that's business now. So in business, is there demand for this? Yes, we can see that because there's other whiskeys being sold. So if me and Bobby are going into business and we want to sell shoes, we want to compete with Nike because we think we can do a better job. We can have the Bobby Bow line. We can have the Professor, and T-shirts or something. So our first thing is what's in demand. Will shoes sell? Yeah, okay. We got to make them cool because we want high demand. The higher our demand, the higher the price can be. So now we've got everybody wanting tennis shoes. So the first thing is, does people want the product? Do they want Walter Payton, Barry? Do they want Drew Brees? That's the first thing. So you collect what you know there's high demand for. Then on this end, the lower the supply number, the higher the price. All right, so that's kind of the fundamental things, but that doesn't mean. So that's collecting, how to collect. So we'll get to our business in a minute, Bobby. So let's go to gold. We have something that's highly demanded, that the supply is fairly limited, considering, let's say supply's up here, but the demand's higher. I would say the demand's higher than the supply of gold. Why is the price down here when we just said, Mickey Mantle rookie card, if the demand, if 20 people want it and there's only 10 PSA 10s and you get $1 million for it, you get a high price because there's only, as long as you have more people that want it than supply, the price will go up. So why is gold so low? Well, we know that it's because it's fixed. It's not demand. It's not supply demand set. It's set by the paper market, which is always what frustrates me about these guys who think the gold price is real, but it's not. So that's what you have, where they're faking the price of gold. And that's why I say, well, but based on the demand and the supply, the price should be here, because there's clearly more demand than supply, right? They just buy it. And by keeping the price down, you're really making demand high. When gold hits 50,000 an ounce, demand probably shrinks down, because then it says, well, wait a minute, at 2,000, I'll buy it. At 50, maybe I got to buy a quarter ounce. I can't afford the 50,000. And that's what'll happen at that point. We'll pretend you hit 500 home runs, Bobby. There you go. Well, we want your card to go up in value, so we'll put you with Mantle and Mays and those guys. But I want to get you, into the card. We're going to go after your card to collect. We want to raise demand for your card. That's the best way to do it. Just add a 5 to whatever or add a 0 to the end. Maybe you hit a couple hundred home runs. So we'll say 2,000 or something. But see, that's the point with the that's the point with the gold. The point is, do we feel demand is here? See, that's what I was thinking. So because the price is only 2,000, it makes demand go higher and higher and higher, because everybody wants it. It'd be like getting the Mantle card, or it'd be like getting the Jordan card. That's $1.5 million as rookie, and they're holding the price down to $200. Would the demand go up? No, we don't know. See, here's what's happening. This is a perfect example. So if JP Morgan holds the price down to 200, are as many people interested in it versus they see it's at $1.5 million now, so people can't afford it, but people raised it because it was $1 million card. I mean, it still is, but if it was 200, you probably wouldn't get it. Just a second. Hello? Hello? Yeah. You'll have to call me back. I'm sorry. Trying to sell me car insurance. Okay. Sorry about that. So if JP Morgan kept the Jordan card down to let's say $500, would there be the same demand? Or would people say, well, 86 Flair Jordan, he's not really going to get, the card's not going to go up in price. So therefore, I'm not going to buy it. The demand would, see it's no price, but the real price is $1.5 million. So if you knew the real price was $1.5 million and they're keeping it at 500, would you buy it? Of course. But if they keep it at 500, and this is what's happening to gold, people are going, oh, there's really no value in it. Well, that's exactly why I say $50,000 gold, because by them keeping it at 2,000, people think it's like the Jordan card at 500. So they're sitting there not really looking at, confused. What really is it? Now, the reason I say this is because we know demand for gold is very high. So if the demand for gold is extremely high, the price doesn't make sense, right? The price should be higher. All these countries buying gold and by tons, 20,000 tons of Russia, 40,000 in China, India, Saudi Arabia, South Africa, Brazil, all these countries buying gold would be like a lot of people buying the Jordan card. But at $1.5 million, not a lot of people are going to buy it, but at $500 they will. But again, they have to assume it's going to $1.5 million. So you don't really know what the Jordan card is if they price fix it. And that's what we have in gold. Nobody really knows the true value of gold because they're not letting it run in the free market like you would on eBay. So if you took gold on eBay and you said, COMEX is blown up, what's the value? Now you'll see demand, and now you'll see the real, $1.5 million price for the Jordan card. And that's what we need, and that's what we don't have, but we understand it. And that's what separates us from the rest of the pack. We understand that they're keeping the Jordan rookie card, which is $1.5 million, at 500. Now we know the Jordan rookie card's $1.5 million. We know the Mantle rookie cards, I don't know, 10, 20 million if it's a PSA 10. PSA 9, a little bit less, but you can probably get a PSA 7 for $1 million. But you know the true value of it because it's an auction, right? It's as many people want it versus how many are out there, and you get the true value. And that's what we're trying to do with gold and silver. We assume that the demand's even higher because of this $2,000 price, but they're not letting it go to reality. They're not letting the price go to demand, right? So if the demand's here, the real price should be up here. So we understand that, and that's our key to we're gonna do real well with it because people are seeing the 2000, and if the Jordan was held at 500, they're going, I don't want the Jordan. It's not going anywhere. And we're going, wink, wink. It's going to go to $1.5 million. Of course you'd buy it. But see, once it gets to the $1.5 million, you can't sell it for 500, right? Plus you wouldn't want to, and it would be bid up to $1 million anyway. So with gold, it's the same thing, but there's no trigger to move the price up. When I go buy it, it's nobody, I'm not driving the price up if I go buy it. So it's really bizarre that it's got nothing there's no auction. There's no way to get real price. And when they're price fixing, it's selling paper, fake gold. I'm selling 1 million ounces of gold that I don't have, and I don't have any of the gold, and I'm selling, and somebody's buying it, but he's not getting gold either. What is that? Okay, I'm going to sell you. The Jordan card, Bobby, but I'm not actually going to give you the card. Well, what kind of fucking business is that? Okay. So I'm just reading if there's new comments. Now, everybody, I've been having, Phil's been writing comments that I'm not getting here. So try to word it in a proper way that the algorithm won't get you, because apparently I don't know anything about these algorithms, but they look for keywords. I would imagine if you put, Joe Stalin on it, they might not let it through, or the big guy with the H. So I don't know, but that's what you got to be careful of. So really, that's why I talk like I do. But I think it's best explained like this because I just thought of it as I'm doing this. It's amazing how one thing links to another. So this card gets, it's a PSA 10, gets graded. The demand for Peyton's strong, but everybody wants his rookie card. And by the way, I have that. And by the way, that's another $100,000 PSA 10 is his rookie card. Very hard to find PSA 10. I happen to have mine. Very, very nice, very centered. So you have this, and then it's just open how much demand, and then what the price, and then the price sets it. The price sets the demand. So if this is $1 million, you probably, if I didn't auction this for $1 million, I probably would get no demand. If I start the auction at $5, I get a huge demand because everybody will buy it for $5. I don't know what this is. Let's say this is a $600 card. Everybody will want it. Well, let's take a look. Let's see what the Peyton 1983 Peyton card is. $1983. Walter Payton. PSA 10. Here's an autograph for $1,200. He didn't get to 12, but as we know, I would never get this card autographed because it's gonna just get the Topps card autograph. See, there's not even a PSA 10 out here. Well, I can't do it. So that's good news. You can't even find a PSA 10. Here's a 1987 PSA 10, 151. And be careful of this card. This is the rookie, but it's a 2001 rookie. So I hate when they do that. See, Topps can't just make, they have the print. They can't just reprint. They can't just make more 1976s. So they have to put them out as reprints. Otherwise, they could go to jail because with the value of them, I'd be like, oh, let's just go make a bunch of 1952 Mickey Mantle cards, and they'll all be PSA 10s now. Well, I can't find a PSA 10, so I can't get you that value. Let's go to 1982. There you go. So 1982, and I have 3 of these, are $725. I bought them for $5. I just saw them; they were perfect, and I said, "Oh, I'll buy." And then I kept seeing them. I kept buying them. Jesus Christ, can't even find them. So that's the only one I see. But so that's $700 for that one. And as I showed you the other day, the Lawrence Taylor is $7,000 for his. But if it's autographed, it's only like $500 or $600. So never get the very good rookie card. Never get it autographed. Get the cheap one autographed. That's what you need to do. Now here's a ridiculous article. Stock set to open lower, waiting FOMC. That's the Federal Open Market Committee, which is the Fed, right? So that's the Fed going to do their minutes. Who gives a fuck? First of all, do you think these are, do you think he's any good? What are they doing to my Social Security? Okay, I don't care about that. So, those you got to understand they want to be elected, so they're going to say whatever they need to say. It's never true. So the Fed or the Open Market Committee, which is the Fed, or a PPI that Bobby likes to look at for some reason, none of that's real. It's all bullshit. So keep that in mind, that you really aren't. They're not real statistics. They're bullshit statistics. So you've got to be careful believing them, right? So if Bernie Madoff says I go 100% on my stocks, there's no way. right? Liar, liar, pants on fire. In fact, Bernie Madoff was 0 on his stock picks. He didn't make any, but he didn't tell us that. So that's what you got to be careful of. So today's lesson is who to listen to and what are they really saying. So does it make sense? So in this game, does it make sense that gold and silver is that cheap? We see the mantle demand is up here and the price is up here, or the Trish Speaker 2006, or a Joe Namath rookie card, or a Joe Montana rookie card. The price is really high because the demand's really high. Oh, I want a PSA 10 and I'll pay anything for it. Those are more the rich guys who have nothing else to do with their money. They're going, oh, good, I can get a joint. Oh, there's very few of these. Okay, I'm going to buy it. So there's different markets, right? There's Ferrari and Maserati and Porsche. Then there's Mercedes. And then a little lower comes Toyota and Ford and GM. Same thing with the cards. There's the Mantle Rookie, which is millions of dollars. And then people like us who will take we'll get the 65 Mantle that is a PSA 7 for $1,000, right? So there's all different markets. So that's if me and Bobby are going into business selling shoes, what's our market? Are we going after the top, the middle, the bottom? Probably whatever we can make the most at, but our cost might be higher or lower. What certain companies do will call themselves the gold standard, and they'll try to have cheap costs, but then say, we're the gold standard, we're the best, which will then jack the price up and hopefully jack demand up. And then they can sell it for more, even though their costs are low. Trying to, like Mercedes does that, where you think, oh, this is the greatest car, and then they're $80,000, and you're going, or the Rolex, right? So it's ingrained that the quality is great. It's the gold standard. You can't find the substitute. There's no competition. So that's how it works in business. So what do I talk about? Competition, substitution, right? So if you don't like the barbecue place, it's too expensive, you go to a different one. Or I ate at Big Boys and it was $14 for a fucking 2-patty burger. And so it's like, I ain't eating there anymore. I can go to the Coney Island where it's $6 or $7. Even the barbecue place has hamburgers. I haven't checked the price. They're like $7 or $8. And you get the potato and the coleslaw with it. So you can get that. So Jenna tells me in Poland, it's $100 for McDonald's. Her and her son were going to go to McDonald's. It was 100 zloty, which are Polish, and divide by 4 roughly. So it's about $20, $25 for them to eat at McDonald's. So I drove to McDonald's and I looked, and like a quarter pounder meal was like $8. So times 2 is 16, and they were 25. So not really much different, a little bit more expensive in Poland, but not too much. But when she says $100 Zloty, Polish money, that's what you run into because of the conversion, right? So here, my Russian girlfriend, Daria, needs dental, and she's sitting there telling me 2 implants will cost 90,000 rubles. But then I said, well, they're about 70, Then we get into it, and the ruble is 67.80 today. It's funny. If you buy it at 67, if you sell it, I don't know. There's a buy and a sell, and this I guess the sell is 75.80, and the buy is 67.80, something like that. So it's roughly 70. To a dollar. So $100 is basically 70,000 rubles, right? I think, or is it 7,000? No, 100, 2 zeros. So move it over to, now that would be 6,000, I think. 67.80 times 100 is 6. I think it's 6,000. I don't know. Yeah, it's going to be a little bit more than I have. If it's 90, I thought it'd be $100 would get her 6,000. So she needs like $1,000 to get to 67. That's a lot to get for dentistry in Russia. I mean, I can bring her here to my dentist here. It'd only be a couple. Well, I don't know. Let's say 500 or 1,000. My dentist in Detroit. So I don't know. I don't know where she's going to get the money. I can give her, 7,000, but I can't give her 70,000. Well, I can once gold goes up. See, once gold goes up, that's why you would sell the gold, right? So you see, it's 70,000 for her tooth, and then you sell a quarter ounce of gold at, it's 15,000. The ounce goes to 50. The quarter ounce is 12,000. Then you just give the doctor a quarter ounce of gold, and he does the tooth. So you're not cashing it in. That's a perfect example of what you do with your gold or your silver. You get into this situation, the dentist or maybe your accountant or your lawyer, and you can pay him in that, and he'll take, well, normally he would take it, unless he's one of these crazy communists. Anyway, so that's what you're looking at with why is gold not more? Because we understand, again, if you're keeping the price low, you're going to raise demand because people want it cheap, right? So they keep it cheap, you get more and more demand. And eventually, when you let this go, when you let the LBMA out of London, who's got the monopoly, and it's failing, and once it fails, then it's going to go to real price. Once it goes to market, it'll be very high. Now, are they going to let it go to market is everybody's question, right? Well, it's only 12, it's either these idiots think that it's at market, which it's not, or idiots think that, well, they'll just set the price and they won't let the auction, they won't let the market take it, right? It'll be at whatever they, okay, it's 10,000 an ounce, and that's it. In other words, we won't let it go to market, but we will raise it. I don't know how they can stop it. But if you let it go to free market, it's at least 50,000, if not more. Now, how much can they do? I don't know. It's the only thing I've ever seen. I mean, Walter Payton can go to market and Jordan can go to market, but are you fucking kidding me? Gold can't go to free market. So I'm assuming it will. Silver should too. So it's the U.S. trying to hold it down because they got the lead in the dollar, right? But as that goes away, I think all these other countries want gold to go up because they're trying to put their dollars out backed by gold. So you want the highest gold price you can get. That's what you want. So I think we'll be okay. But that just shows you demand and supply, how that works. So if people want it, that's it. So me and Bobby go into a shoe company and we say, what are we going after, Bobby? Are we going after the high-end tennis shoes or the low-end tennis shoes or the in-between, or we're just going to sell it at 60? I mean, I go, and when I get my shoes, I got a wide foot, and I go up north at a discount mall, and usually on the holidays, and it's, they're like $80 for just freaking tennis shoes. I mean, it's ridiculous. I'm sure there's there, but if it's on sale for $30 or buy one, get one free, I'm buying two of them. But if they're $150 a pair, I'll either look to substitute or I'm only buying one pair and wearing it out. So that's really what you have to determine. What's the market, and then what do we want to sell, and what's our cost, and then what are we trying to say with it? So we would probably go, it's the gold standard of shoes, and we'd mark it up, and then people would want us because they can't substitute. But I don't think there's Nike, there's Reebok, there's all these. So there's going to be substitutes in tennis shoes, and that's it. And I don't care what Tiger Woods wears or if he's got Nike or not. Actually, that drives me away from Nike because I know all the Nike stuff is too expensive because they're trying to, they got to pay Tiger. And I don't care. I don't need to be, well, I'm wearing Nike because Tiger wears it. I don't care. I'm an INFG. We don't care about that shit. Now I understand why I don't care about it. I made a comment. I was talking to this girl and she said, I'm a celebrity. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. I says, it doesn't impress me. I said, if I saw Ocean's 11 guy, what's his name? George Clooney. If I saw him at Target or, Kroger's, I wouldn't walk up to him. He might come up to me, but I wouldn't walk up to him. He would look at me because I'm an INFG, but I wouldn't go up to him. I wouldn't be in awe of him. I wouldn't care. You're an actor. Who gives a shit? That's how I am. There'd be very few actors, actresses that I would actually want to meet, but it would just be to meet them. It wouldn't I would want to meet the professor in Tokyo from Money Heist. That's who I would go up and talk to, right? But I'd be very nonchalant. Hey, professor, love the work. I do my show after you. That would be the difference, right? But not George Clooney. He's like, you're a fucking idiot. You're a bad actor, and I don't get it. So I wouldn't go up to him, right? But my friend is like, I'm a celebrity, and I'm kind of going, well, good for you. Goody gumdrops. It says, I don't really care about that. I like the person for the person, not what they do. So anyway, now let's do this. So that's really what you're trying to do. I want to do this. So So let's see what 45,000 rubles looks like. So there's an FX option on here. So if we change to euro to ruble, Russian ruble. So we got 74.93. So look how they're fucking her over anyway. So now we need 45,000 rubles. So that's $600 for 45,000 rubles. Not terrible. This is to get implants put in. She needs 2. So it'd be $1,200 because she would $600 for one. Then she said it was $2,000 for her tooth, which is $26. That's nothing. So $600 to get one implant. She needs 2. Now again, that's at $74.93. She's given me a number of 67. So it'd be a little, it'd probably be $650 or so. So that's how FX works, right? That's why everybody bitches, because the dollar's stronger. But why? We print enough that it's obsolete anyway. Anyway, so that's what you're looking at is when you're making a product, you're trying to say you can't substitute it. There's no competition and no substitute. Well, there's always some form of substitution that can be made. Even if it's Saks Fifth Avenue saying there's no substitute, or Porsche in the movies, no substitute. Bullshit. You can go buy a Mercedes. You can go buy a Toyota. You can buy a Maserati or a Ferrari. There's a lot of other cars you can have. So to say there's no substitute, we're that much better than everybody else. Even if you go to a different car, you can't substitute it. So that's what they're trying to say is, look, you're going to pay more because you can't substitute and there's no competition. And very few things are like that. Gold, however, is like that, but there's no gold guy out there. I'll be the gold guy. There is no substitute and there's no competition for it. The competition is the dollar, which we blow away. And that's why it's the gold standard, because it's the best and there's nothing that can compete with it. the dollar cannot compete with it unless you price fix it and everybody says, oh, you don't want to own the dollar. So that's the point of it. So as we go, around, that's what we got to understand. So when somebody says, do you think there'll be a recession? Well, of course. Well, what is a recession? It's the slowing of the economy. Well, of course, if you raise interest rates and things are more expensive, by definition, you're going to slow the economy because things cost more. And we're not sitting on a printing press. So we only have so much money and we have to pay rent, get our food and utilities. Okay. Then our car and our gas for the car and eat. Now, how much do we have left if all those prices went up? We're not making more to do that. So that's kind of why there is a recession. Because if the prices go up, doesn't mean we got more money. So that's why when you look for a new job, you just say, what did you make? You just add 5,000 to it. So if you made 70,000, you made 75. You made 100, 105. In Bobby's case, he can't do anything because his salaries are pretty public, but it doesn't matter. But in like my world, I just add $5,000 to it. Whatever I made, add $5,000. Bobby, how about the silver standard? Is there such a thing? It's never really been called the silver standard, but it always is piggybacking on the gold standard. So we know gold is more valuable, but that's what the point with the silver is. It's usually 8-1 because there's 8 times more of silver than there is of gold. So if gold's price is, 8,000, silver's price should be 1,000 because it's just an 8-1 ratio. So silver's going to go way up because Russia's pricing it in gold. And we know gold's going up because they want to go to a gold standard. And it's coming pretty quick because somebody has to pay for a war or whatever you call this thing. It's really U.S. versus Russia. It's not Ukraine versus Russia. Ukraine's getting fucked over, but I'm sure they're getting paid a lot. But I don't know. It's almost like Russia's just bombing the middle of a field so they can look like there's a war. I don't know. I don't even know if it's real. I mean, yeah, people are dying. I'm sure people die in Russia every day and people die here every day. But that's the thing. So how real is it? What's the real strategy? So Russia needs money. So they need their gold. They need dollars backed by gold and get the price of gold up. So again, demand for gold's here. JP Morgan's the real price is here and JP Morgan's pushing it down. So it's the Jordan card, right? Is it $1.5 million? But if JP Morgan kept it at 200, would there be demand because people would think, oh, it's not going up. So if you can capture that concept, you understand gold because the psychology it's really a monopoly. There's really no substitute. There's really no competition to it. I mean, I guess silver, but I mean, this is not really a substitute or competition. It's a different thing. That's why they call it fiat money. And this is a different medium of exchange where gold's actually money. But in money, there is no substitute or competition. The only kind of competition it has is this, but I'm not sure. As this goes out, you can see all the other currencies going out. So it makes it very difficult. Who's this? Now, this is not my WhatsApp. This is my messages. We're preparing for potential service outages during the storm. So I guess there's a storm going to hit. I don't know. It's pretty warm outside. Is this going to be like the train getting blowing up? And is that the storm they're going to? Because I thought one hit in Detroit the last day or two. But the gold standard is like the standard. It's like the best. It's like the Joe Montana, Mahomes, Brady crap. So that's like the gold standard of quarterbacks. They're the best. There's really no competition. That's where they're at. So really, that's kind of what gold is. It's a money that there's really nothing for it. Now, silvers, juniors, like I said, normally it's 8-1, which would put it at, $250 an ounce right now. And to show it at only 25, now you know why I buy it and why I tell you to buy it, because at worst case, it's 250, not 25. So you're already going to make 10 times on it, which is 1,000% if it goes to 250, because 100% of the coin that's worth 25 is $50, right? You've doubled it, right? You've made 100%, 25, 100% is 25 is 50. That's 100%. At the 250 that it should be at is 1,000%, right? It's 100. It's 25 times 10, so it's 10 times the 100% or 1,000% from where it should be. So we know what the demand is, we know what the price should be, and we know it's being held down. So it's just how long can they hold it down? So everybody can ask, well, why are the central banks buying it? And that really gives you the answer, because they know it's all, if it was crap and it wasn't going to go up, the central banks wouldn't be buying it. They're buying it for the same reason I'm buying it and Bobby's buying it, is protection. So you're buying it because the only reason they're buying it because they know this is going out. As we talked yesterday on digital dollars, they're not even going to be around till at least 2026, at least. It's accepted, and if everything goes well, and if. So you can't keep this paper. You got to. So they're going to come out with new paper. They have to, especially in the U.S. I mean, because it's not going to be the currency. And the fact there's trillions of dollars out there is not a good thing. It's a bad thing. That's like having a trillion of these. What would the value of this be if there was a trillion of them out there? This would be 2 cents. If there's 100 of these out there, then it would be, $10,000. So you can see, so don't get confused, supply and demand. Don't get confused on if the price is going down, don't get emotional on it. So you have to understand it. So the guy in the coin store says when the price of silver drops, people don't want to buy it. But when the price of silver goes up is when they come in to buy it. Because then they think, oh, it's finally going to go. They have no concept of the price fix. So that's the problem. Oh, I hope I answered your question, Bobby, but there is no silver standard. It's the gold standard, but everybody knows what that is. So if Rolex is the gold standard of watch, and you get the gold standards means there's no substitute, and there's nothing else. Like Porsche, instead of saying there's no substitute, they should have said this is the gold standard of cars. That's what I would have said, because everybody understands what gold standard means. It's the best. There's no competition. But that's what you try to do in business is become the gold standard of whatever, belts or tennis shoes or shirts or whatever. That's what Polo tries to do. Polo sits there and tries to be the gold standard of shirts and pay $100 for my shirt. And I go, no, I'm going to buy Nautica for $35. Right? I'll get the Nautica for $35. Why do I need the Polo? So I'll substitute the Polo. So Polo's trying to come out like we're the gold standard. You can't substitute us. There's no competition. We're going to be $100. And if you're smart and you're not caught up on ego, you go, fuck, I'll buy the Nautica. It was July 4th. I needed shirts from the move. So I went and got Nautica at $20 a shirt, and Polo was $110. I didn't buy any Polo, and I bought a ton at the $19. I'm going, wow, this is cheap. And I bought like 7 or 8 new shirts. That's what you do to combat that, right? You've got to be, you can't be, oh my God, I'm going to buy Polo and that's all I'm going to buy. And then I pay $110 for it. You've got to be independent. You got to go, Nautica's 20, Polo's 100. What am I buying? I'm buying the Nautica. And they got black, blue, and red and everything else. and it's a nice looking shirt. It's not like I need the polo player on it. So that's really what it is. And it's the same with cars. But me and Bobby are going to go and say, no, no, no. We're the Rolex of whatever it is we're making, right? Shirts, pants, shoes. So we're selling shoes. We're the Rolex of shoes. We're the gold standard. We're Jimmy Choo times two, right? We're gonna sell Jimmy Choo. We're gonna sell Bobby Bowes, and we're gonna sell them for $500 and say this is the gold standard. We're gonna sell to the rich. We don't care about the $100 shoes. They don't compete with us. You're gonna want ours. And that's what Jimmy Choo's done. And that's really what you want to do is if you're running a business, is you gotta come across with the image that you're the best. And that's what you try to do. And then you can get the price. But if you don't come across as the gold standard that I can't substitute, you're fucked. Polo, I think Polo will be out of business soon if they don't lower that price from 100. Because I don't know how many people are going to spend 100 instead of buying the Nautica for 20. Right? If you're a consumer, you got to be out of your mind to spend 5 times more for a Polo than the Nautica. Right? You don't want to do that. So that's really that's why we want competition. Right. And that's capitalism, right? You can have Jimmy Choo and you can have Nike and Reebok and all these different shoes and Skechers and whatever you want. And they hit their own little market. You know, they have their spokesman, Michael Jordan or Tiger Woods or Bobby Bowe. Bobby Bowe would be our spokesman, of course. And we would just sit there with, but see, that's capitalism. Right. I don't know what the fuck the communist is talking about with the workers and this and that. I mean, he's way off the boat. But that's what we want in America is the competition. Right. We want to be able to do that. Right. That's our point, is to do the have the chance of not only from the business end, being in the business, we could do that. And from the consumer end, we can buy whatever we want. That's what we want. That's free market capitalism. The free market, you can go in and be a seller, or there's different competition and different markets that, I only want to spend $50. I want to spend $100. Wherever you are comfortable. That's the thing. The athlete who makes $10 million doesn't really look at price. Well, maybe Bobby does, but I mean, they're not really looking at price. They're just saying, this is what I want. Right. But that's not the rest of us. The rest of us who work and don't make as much are got to be more picky, or it's the birthday, or like here, Daria with her teeth, right? She needs $600. She needs $1,200, for her implants, which it would take her years to get $1,200 in Russia. I don't know what she makes, but I'm sure it's not that much. And then it becomes how much I want to help her. And if she was here, it'd be a whole lot cheaper. That's $1,200. I could probably do implants. Let's see, 2 for $1,000. It'd probably be $500, $600 an implant here too. So I don't think that's outrageous. It just looks outrageous because rubles are 72 to 1. So any ruble cost really looks high, but I don't know what she makes as far as and then saving it. Right. So, and again, that's coming from the government saying this is what you're going to charge for implants. Now the question, I told her to get a bridge as opposed to an implant. She says she can't, she needs the implants. So that's what you got to see. But anyway, so that's where I would use my credit card. Then I could pay her, and then I could pay off the credit card after I got some checks. So that's why I like using the credit card for vacation. I don't kill myself, and then it gives me time to pay it off. So that's really what the market is. So in a Mano card, it's the big demand for Mantle versus Mays versus Bobby versus Brady versus that. So the key players have a high demand, right? That's why you want to buy them as a investor collector. As an investor, you want to buy the Brady cards, the Bobby Bow, the Mantle, because you know the demand's there. If you're a collector, then you'll buy, Joe Smith because you like Joe Smith, or like Nick Lentz, Joe Burrow, because he likes. Now that's probably an investment, but he actually likes Joe Burrow, so that's a collectible too. So he's buying a collectible that he hopes will go up. What we're doing with gold, it's more of a insurance of the dollar, but it's also an investment. Like, we're buying it to get out of dollars first. That's 1A. We don't want to lose $50,000. We don't want to watch it go to zero. So we buy gold and silver, because they're going to go up. But their insurance, I'm out of the dollar. That's your reason. And then the values should go up because they're being held down, is the kicker of it. So we're also buying it sort of as the second fact that we think it'll go up. But as this goes out, value has to go up. And then what does JP Morgan do as the dollar goes out? How are they going to do derivatives based on what? You're gonna keep the price down to $25 an ounce for silver, but there's no more dollar. So how can you do that, right? So as the dollar goes away and things are priced in dollars, like crypto, like these derivative contracts, what do you value them at? Because you can't value them in dollars. So that's the other key. So as a consumer, that's why I say you substitute and you look at the different competition. Maybe you get out of chips and you go into nuts. Maybe you stay away from Oreos and you buy the Target brand if you want those, or Fruit Loops and you buy the Target brand of Fruit Loops, and you save money because at that point you don't care about the taste as much. You're just trying to survive and get out of it. So that's what you're doing. So that's basically, in a nutshell, what economics really is in a capitalistic society. Laissez-faire, Adam Smith, invisible hand. So the invisible hand is just let Nike and Reebok battle it out. We don't want a monopoly. We don't want government to fine and tax Reebok more because Tiger Woods is Nike and they want Nike. They prefer Nike. So that's what you don't want. You want the government out of it. You want it just let Reebok and Nike, compete, and there'll be sales for both sides. And that's what you do. Or Coke and Pepsi. You don't want the government involved. Just get out of it and let us do what we do. And really, that's the key to it. So that's about it. So everything comes into it. So what is inflation? We're losing value. That's what drives the price up. And the price really doesn't go up. It just takes more. When you hurt the value of the dollar, you just need more dollars to buy it, right? So that's the first key. And then, so it makes all the costs go up because you need more dollars to buy the steel and the tires and the whiskey or whatever it is you're selling. You need more money to buy it because the money's worth less, right? So there's that. That's the inflation. That's what causes the recession and the depression. Sales drop. That's what a depression simply is. When you raise costs so much, the sales drop because you're not selling enough to make money. So it all comes back to business. So me and Bobby are going to sell shoes, the Bobby Bows. And we look at it, well, what's our cost going to be? Well, we need a plant. We need people to put the thing in. We need somebody to put the shoelaces in the shoes. If we're not doing Jimmy Choo, if we're not doing slip-ons, well, maybe we do slip-ons. Maybe that's our market. Wide slip-ons should be our market. And so we figure out it's going to cost us X. So we figure out a break even. Well, we got to pay for the machinery and equipment and the plant and the building and the wages, and we want to make 20%. So that means we have to sell 100,000 shoes, let's say, at $50 a shoe. And right now the market says we can sell them for 50. There's the market for it. However, when we enter the market, there's more competition. We're going to have to sell it at 40. So people want the Bobby Bows. They don't want to pay 50 if the market's 50 because they're already buying that. So they don't necessarily want the new thing, but they'll try us if we're $10 cheaper. Shoes called Bobby Bows. Give me some ideas. Giving me some. Well, there you go. Absolutely, Bobby Bow. Say I'm walking you right through how to do it. So we need to sell. Let's say 20,000 pairs of shoes at $50 to cover the machinery, the equipment, the plant, the salaries, the ads. We get it up, and then we need. This is how many units we need to sell to make our 20%. Because we don't want to do it if we're not going to make 20%. If we're going to make 5%, we don't care. We got to make 20. So what happens in a recession is they don't sell all the units, and the cost goes up, which makes then. Depends how you think about it. If you understand free market economics, you understand that what's my market? $50. Well, what happens if the Bobby Bows, we want to sell them for 60 now because our costs went up and we still want to make our 20%. Our market's 50. We can't sell them at 60. We're going to lose a percentage of our market, which then, and keep in mind, the people are losing their jobs or the cost of donuts are going up, so they have less money to buy the Bobby Bows. So you got to be careful raising your price to 60 when the market's 50. If anything, you should be lowering it to 45 because you got to realize, food's going up and heat's going up, and you know what? These people aren't going to have as much money. My market has changed from the inflation, but everybody, what do? Oh, Toyota, we'll make it $30, 30,000 for the car instead of keeping it at 25, if not lowering it to 20. And then eventually they go, well, we can't sell it for 30. And that's how the market works, right? So when inflation happens, you should be lowering your prices because if everything's expensive, these people don't have the money. They're not going to buy it. Now, the Bobby Bows are different because they're a $50 item. A Camry is a $30,000 item. A Mercedes is a $70,000 item. And these Teslas, what did Tesla do? He just lowered his prices from 50,000 to 27,000. He can't sell them. He can't sell his units. He can't make his profit. He can't pay he can't pay the plant and the equipment and all these machines he needed to buy and all the parts he needed to buy, all the silver for the batteries and lithium, all this shit he needs and the tires and everything. If the car just sits on the lot or he doesn't build it because of that, he can't make his profit. He can't make 20% because his units, he's not going to sell enough units, right? He's only going to sell 10,000 units at this price, but his break even is 35,000. So what does he do? He lowers his price from 50 to 27, but he's all fucked up now because he can't at that price. And to get his 20% return, he's got to sell a lot more units, which he can't do because nobody's buying cars at a 10, 11% interest rate. So Tesla's fucked. Now let's carry this forward to stocks. So Tesla, we know is fucked, right? He can't make his 20%. You buy stock in Tesla because Tesla's sitting there going, well, we're going to make this much. We're going to sell 200,000 units at 50,000 a unit, and here's our cost. And we're going to make, and our 20%, we're going to make 20%, we're going to make, $14 million, whatever. But as the costs go up and as you can see what's happening in the market, the inflation or the valuation of the money makes things cost more. So you buy less, right? I got to pay more for my bread and milk and more for my juice and more for my Canadian club and my cantaloupe and my honey and my avocados. I only have so much. I'm not getting a raise. If anything, I'm losing my job. So you have that. So then what happens? Why would you hold the stock? He's not going to make what he promised, the 20%. His sales drop, but his costs don't. His rent is still whatever, $100,000 for the year to rent his plant. His salaries are still there. His insurance, his light, the utilities have gone up. So his costs have gone up, but he can't raise his price. So of course, now he does it. He sells less units. You do the math, and he's not only not getting 20%, he's lucky to be breaking even. Well, what's going to happen to the stock price? Well, it's going to go down. Why? Because stocks are based on forward earnings, right? Oh, Apple came out with the iPhone. They're going to sell it for $1,300. Oh my God, look at the earnings they're going to have. And then, so that's why Apple stock does well. But if the inflation hits and you can't sell them for 13, the Apple stock has to go down. That's the difference. That's why I tell you to buy Coke and Pepsi, because they're $2 items. You're still going to sell all your units and cover your cost, versus Toyota, versus the cars. That's why I tell you don't buy car stocks now. The interest rates are too high. They're never going to sell the units they need because people don't have the money, and it's so expensive to buy the car, because now instead of interest rates being 0, interest rates are 10%. Or Toyota said they're like 9% when I was in there. So that's the big problem, right? So what do you do with it? That's why stocks are going to drop, right? That's what a recession is. Costs go up, you're going to make less sales because people, you only have so much money, and you have your needs. That's why I tell you, you can buy Coke and Pepsi or some beer like Budweiser and stocks like that, Hershey's syrup and ketchup and salad. Okay, that's probably good to buy. What is that? Kraft. Kraft's probably a good one, and they got stuff that you're always gonna get salad dressing. Even if they raise the price from $2.99 to $3.20, you're still gonna buy it. It's those little items are where you put your stock. They're the ones who are gonna keep making their earnings, but they're still gonna go down. No, I don't drink Budweiser. No, I don't really drink a lot of beer. I'm more into, like, I'll have this with Coke like on my birthday or Christmas or New Year's, but that's it. And I'm not a beer drinker. I don't like the taste, and I don't want the sugar, and it's really bad for you. So a lot of stuff I don't, because it's not, like, I don't smoke cigarettes because they're not healthy, or cigar. Well, I don't do drugs either, but stuff like cigarettes, I don't get, because it's really poison in your body. And I say to myself, why would I want to poison my body? And then I'm going to get sick because I smoked, and I'm like, well, what the fuck did I do that for? So I'm too INFJ, which is, we're too logical, right? We think it through and going, well, not that cigarette, does it feel good to smoke cigarettes? I don't know. There's other things I like to do better that feel much better, that don't kill me, that I don't have to smoke or drink. So that's the difference. So I kind of am like that. Red wine I'll have occasionally, not a lot, but if I'm out with friends and they want to get drinks, or if I'm with the girls, when I'm with Daria, when I'm with Alana, when I'm with Jenna, it's like we got champagne in the room in Lisbon, and then we might have wine for dinner. Although I usually just got a Coke Zero or water. But if she's I'll have champagne with her. When we got champagne, we had champagne and oysters in Odessa, and so I drank some of the champagne. But I'm not a huge drinker. I just don't, I guess I just don't need to get drunk or high or that. I get high picking football games and other things I do with the girl, but that's, the difference. So that's why stocks drop. So sometimes you need to understand it. I was just watching a YouTube to try to, think of things to say. And he's sitting there and he's going, well, stocks are going to, he tried to correlate stocks with interest rates. And he says, well, the interest rate was 0 and the stocks were high, and now the interest rates are going up and the stocks are going down. And it's like, that's what I initially started the class with, is you've got to be careful what they say and what they call things, because what he's really saying is when there's inflation and they have to raise interest rates, stock market's going to go down, because it's just for what I just said. The costs are going up. They can't pass it on to the consumer. they're not going to make as much money as you thought. They're going to have bad earnings, and their stock is going to drop. Because why are you in stocks in the first place? Because you want to invest your money that you have extra. So I want to, where am I going to put $10,000? Well, I don't want it in the bank. There's no interest, and it's taxed, which leads me to gold and silver, which leads me to jewelry, which leads me to the Drew Brees cards, which leads me to diamonds, which leads me to Rolexes. They're all assets that should go up in value. The reason you buy assets like that is because this goes down in value. So if you understand that this is backed by nothing and they're printing it to death, and the other countries don't want it anymore. So now you've taken the demand away. So the demand for dollar was here, and so they could print and print and print and print and print. Now what's happening is the demand for dollars dropping, right? China doesn't want it. Russia doesn't want. Well, you've sanctioned Russia. Japan doesn't want it, and all these. Now, so all of a sudden you've got all this supply, and you've got no demand. You're fucked. Nobody wants it. So now what's going to happen? Price is going to go down. So with that said, when he's saying, well, interest rates dictate the stock market, I did a whole thesis on this. And basically, it's exactly what I said. I said when the interest rates go up, the costs are up. You don't want to buy GM and Ford because who's buying a car with high interest rates, with basically higher cost. So I wouldn't buy car stocks now. I'd buy cheap stuff, right? Coke and Pepsi and Kraft, Miracle Whip and ketchup and salad dressing and barbecue sauce. More people will probably eat at home. And after going to Big Boys, $14 for a fucking hamburger, I went home and I got 3 pounds for like $16. I made 9 hamburgers, and they're much bigger and better and used with olive oil and with seasoning that I like. So I got 9 of these things versus 2 little patties that I think all 4 patties maybe is a quarter pound. Let's say they're a half a pound, which I don't think. $14 for that? I'm like, fuck, what are you kidding me? And a lot of it is the cook's wages, the rent, the electricity's gone up. So they feel they have now if I got them just one, so they're like double deckers. So if you just got 1 patty and 1 patty, you'd get 2 patties was $9.99. So 4 patties, they were actually giving you a discount because if you'd have bought 2 of the regular, it would have been 10 and 10 would have been $20. By getting the extra 2 with it, it's 14. So there really is a discount, but it's way over market. Sort of like the ribs, right? If guys started charging $40 for the ribs, they'd be out of business. By the way, I watched a few videos on INFJ. Yeah, and your thoughts? Don't you like how powerful? Well, I hope you're an INFJ, but you see how powerful we are? Did you see the one where it goes through our traits? And then there's 15. It says the 15 traits you're an INFJ. And I had an intuition to watch that. I'm like, what's this? I didn't know I was. I didn't know there was personality traits out there. So I'm sitting there watching it just to get an idea of what it is. And then I didn't even think I was. I didn't know I was or wasn't. So I'm watching it. And the next thing I know, it said, boom, and it goes through the 15 traits. And I nailed 14. The only one I don't really love is the writing part. I would prefer to talk or get on Excel. I do definitely match most traits except for about 2 or 3. So I don't know how much. So you're an introvert who feels. So what I am is I'm an introvert that wants to help people, that can feel and read people. And I'm also an extrovert. I'm both. So I'm an introvert and an extrovert. I guess I'm introverted personality, but extrovert thinking, which is what I'm doing here is extrovert thinking. I don't have a script. But I know everything I'm telling you is right. it's what I've been teaching over and over, but just in different ways. But that's what it is. It's the intuition, right? It's the intuition, which makes you psychic, which you're an introvert, but you teach extrovertedly. That's why we're special, because most people are either very shy or very outward. The communist guy is very outward, but he's an idiot. Let me read this. Bobby is not the most sensitive guy and not feminine. Well, it's not a masculine feminine thing. They say INFJ, JM guys get mistaken to be gay. I didn't watch that video. Bobby, no, not feminine, nor is the professor feminine. So that's one is not a match. I didn't see that in the 15. Let me show you the video to watch, because I never got that out of watching, like, what are my, when it came to mind, that was never there. It's not like you're not feminine at all. All right. I will show you which one. Where is it? Thought I put it in my liked. So here's a good one. 5 reasons. This is where I don't know where you're coming from. 5 reasons why people extremely fear a true Sigma INFJ. We're pretty tough. Where the fuck is that one? Why evil is powerless over the INFJs. That's why I don't get what you're looking at, because that would be, where is that one? Anyway, there was one that was like 15 rules of the INFJ. Well, I'll look for it. Yeah, just a second. All right. That's this one right here, Bobby. This one. Signs, you're an INFJ, the rarest type in the world. But if you get that, it doesn't say anything about feminine or anything. So look at this one. It's on What is the channel? Brainy Dose. So go to Brainy Dose. Right there. Brainy Dose, INFJ. So that's where it is. All right, so that's what it's called. INFJ, Brainy Dose. There. I don't know why it keeps doing that. Anyway, so that's where, go to that site, and that's where it is. And I don't know why it's not in my light.
If you think you have a thyroid problem, chances are you've gone to the doctor and they told you that your blood work looks good, but you
Fascinate a lot due to their subconscious need to find absolute perfection in mostly everything, even though realistically.
All right, so that's the one to go to. Okay, and then you'll go through the 15 and do that, but it'll say we're like wizards, basically. So use that one. Anyway, it's very rare. Apparently, 2% of the population of the world are INFJs. I don't know how they measure. I don't know. Am I counted on that? But I sure am. And so, like yesterday, I'm in the hot tub and I see the communist, and I just basically, I'm not even looking at him. And now he's kind of not looking at me, so it's perfect. And he's talking to this lady about communism, and I'm just kind of sitting there kind of trying to ignore it all, and I'm feeling, oh, this poor lady, you got to listen to this idiot, and he's trying to like convince her about the good things about communism. And as I say, I just I stayed out of it. In other words, I'm not going to go tell him he's an idiot for being a communist. That's not what I do. I try to help people, but I certainly can't help that. Just a second. Hello? Yeah. Fine. I'm in the middle of something. Can I call you back shortly? Yeah, I can't right now. I'm in the middle of something, but I can call you 2:45, 3 o'clock, somewhere around there. Okay, cool. Thank you. Bye. Anyway, so that's what you have. So he's talking communist. So basically, communist, there's very little competition. The state runs everything. So if you want, like in Canada, you want whiskey, you're going to the state-controlled liquor board, and they control the price. And you want to buy Canadian Club, that's where you're going. Where here we can go to several different stores. However, I think the state of Michigan still controls the price on it, unfortunately. So it's more the government setting prices, setting where you can buy it, and everything else. So that's really the difference in communism. You always have the competition, I think, from Coke to Pepsi. Although I do notice, and like when I go to the Ukraine, I don't know there is Coke and Pepsi. I get the Coke, but I don't know if Pepsi's sold there. Because when I go out to eat, we'll go out to eat or we'll go to the beach, and we're always getting Coke. Now, I don't know if we're getting Coke because that's all they carry or that's all they can carry. And then they set the prices. So now you can substitute water for the Coke, certainly, and the alcohol or juice. So you do have different kind of substitutes and kind of competition, but not really a lot. We'll go to a grocery store and get some fruit for the room and everything. Yeah, I'm a bit of a perfectionist. So you're on that video. So look at that video, and it'll say, well, you're a perfectionist, right? Um, it's not necessarily toward others. I'm a perfectionist. Um, I want to make sure you guys understand. So I come after you 5 or 6 different ways to teach you about economics because it's very confusing. So I am trying to perfect. So it's, oh, yeah, I get it. That's what it is. Or football, I'm certainly a perfectionist. I want to hit 100% of the games, but I'm not Bernie Madoff, so I can't do it. I always feel like I can do better. Well, and then are you psychic? Do you have that gut reaction type of thing in poker or football where you feel the game? Do you have intuition? Can you read people very well? Those are the kind of the key attributes. Reading people, the intuition is very helpful at poker and football and stuff like that. The intuition is very psychic in football, as I'm very good. And then are you trying to help people? Are you trying to make other people better? Because that's what I do, right? Poor Daria's got her teeth. She needs that. So I'm going to help her because that's what it is. I never know how much to give her, though. So I will try to help her. But that's my thing. And Jenna's in Poland with her son. So now here's a story. I think I said it yesterday, but anyway. So in Ukraine, I can't use MoneyGram and I can't use PayPal. So I send her what's called RIA. I used to do MoneyGram before the war. Now I do RIA. I send her RIA in US dollars. She goes to the bank, gets the money in US dollars, and I guess exchanges it for hryvnia, Ukrainian. They're not on the euro. So she goes to Poland, and I can't use RIA there, and she doesn't have PayPal, so that doesn't work. So I do MoneyGram, and MoneyGram works there. So it depends on what country is what you're doing. Now, I gave her money in US dollars, so that was fine. Some reason she changed her passport name on her passport, where they instead of like Jenna with a Y, it was Jenna with an I. Okay, so that's why that didn't go through, and I had to redo it. I'm waiting on the refund there. But basically, that's so depending on the country. Like I said, I can't even send my Russian friend money directly. It has to go to her sister on PayPal America, and then she's got a Russian bank account in rubles and sends her the rubles. So that's how we do it to her. Otherwise, I couldn't send her money in Russia. Fortunately, we can. Otherwise, this girl would be dead because I don't know how she'd pay rent and eat food. And she's got a daughter, so I don't know how the two of them could ever do it. Anyway, so there's just different things. So again, we were talking about like the more things cost, the less you buy. And we see that, right? Avocados 99 cents, I'm buying 20 of them. Avocados $3, I'm buying 4 or 5. Or I'm substituting to the other grocery store. I don't understand, like, there's an expensive grocery store and they sell avocados for like $2.50. It's an avocado. Why are you selling it more? And then I go to the Target type, and it's 88 cents. And it's an avocado, right? You're not doing anything with the avocado or the cantaloupe. So I'm eating the cantaloupe and I'm eating an avocado, like it just is. It's not like you're not doing anything. Why would you sell them for $2 more? So that's where you're not substituting away from avocados and cantaloupe. You're just going to the competition to buy them from. And they must think, this is how stupid businesses are, that you won't go to the competition. Well, you're here, you're going to do all your shopping here. Bullshit. I pass by this other one, so I go there for my meat and my chicken. That's it. Buy salad dressing or anything else. The fruit, the veggies is all bought at the other store, which is like $1 cheaper on everything. Hey, Greg and John. Oh, thank you, Greg and John. I appreciate that. Feel free to comment. I mean, that's what we're here for. So if you have questions or comments. But when I got this, I used to coach my daughter's fast pitch team, and it was like 3rd and 4th graders, and she'd go up to 6th and 7th graders. And I was trying to teach this girl how to like catch and throw and hit or whatever it was. And I could see the girl was clueless. She couldn't catch a ball or throw a ball. Mostly the throwing. They want to throw it stiff, not with the shoulder. And you could see they weren't getting it. And you're like, what do you know, it's like, okay, I got to try a different method so they can get it. Cause I'm not comfortable that I'm trying to teach this girl softball how to catch or throw a ball and I can't do it. So I look for different ways of teaching until the lights went on in the head and I could see the girl. Well, you could see she could now catch or throw or whatever she was trying to do or hit. She could do it. So that's when I first started realizing people learn different ways. People must teach different ways. You must find the student, you must find the way they learn. That's the key to teaching is how do I get you guys so the lights go on and you go, oh yeah, I get it. And so that's why I do different forums. And today's like, it's just intuitive because I'm an INFJ. So I'm just running with this. This was not planned. I didn't say, well, I'm going to teach this today. It just rolls. It just comes in. And basically one thing leads to another. And I think I was watching the YouTube and the guy's trying to explain that the stock market's going to go down because of rising interest rates, which he misses the whole basis. It's because of the inflation is the reason the interest rates go up. And that's going to cause prices to go up, which is going to cause the stock market to drop, as I explained, because you're not going to make enough unit. You're not going to sell enough units at the price you need to sell it to pay all your fixed costs. Even if it's a shoe store, the Bobby Bows, we need to pay rent and utilities and the electricity and Bobby's salary and, the whole thing, right? And our utilities are up. Maybe our rent's up. Our material for the shoes are probably up because it's inflation. So Bobby needs to sell 50,000 units to make his 20%. Can he do it? And that's what I'm saying. If he lowers his price to 45, he can do it. If he raises his price to 55, he probably can't. Now, if we get loyal Bobby Bow customers who we're the gold standard and we're the most comfortable and that's the one, if we can sell it like that, we could raise it from 50 to 55 and get away with it. However, we're not going to be able to sell it for 70. That's not going to ever happen. So that's what these stores are having a problem with. Look at Tesla. I mean, they're down to 20. How do you go from 50 to 27? How did you miss the market that badly? So you're just selling it at 50, hoping that people will buy it. A product that there's no demand for in the first place. Do you want an electric car? No. Oh, okay. I'm going to make them and sell them for 50 grand anyway. That's the problem. You got to be an idiot. Yeah, just don't ask the weather again, buddy. No, he's got to stay away from the weather. And that black cloud in Ohio is not clouds. It's chemicals. It's like what's that chemical? Chlorine. This is chlorine burning over Ohio, not a cloud. I hope the people are okay, but the fish are dying, the animals are dying. People are getting headaches. Like, yeah, okay. I'm in Michigan, ready to go to Europe real quickly. Anyway, so that's what I'm trying to do. So it all fits. It's always action reaction, which is why I taught that. So you can see you print more money, which is inflation, which loses the value of the money. Prices don't go up. It takes more dollars to buy because you've reduced the value. So the $100 bill in 1913 is now worth $1.50, I think. I mean, you've screwed up 98% of the value of that $100 bill is worth $1.50, maybe $2. But you don't see it because you keep seeing a $100 bill. You go, oh, I got $100. You don't have $100. You have $100 in today's money, but that's, what's that buying you? You go to the grocery store, it doesn't even buy you. You can't even fill your basket at $100, right? I get like the bottom full and it's $60, $70. And I'm just buying fruits and veggies and some meat. Like it'll be expensive when I buy the meat for the freezer, right? So I'll buy a roast and it's $3, they're 3-pound roast and it's $6. So that's 18. So I do that and buy hamburger and chicken, and that's when I get an expensive shop. The veggies are pretty cheap. Eggs, I got the no-name brand eggs for $1 cheaper. It was $3.50 instead of $4.50 for my dozen eggs. And I think I tried them yesterday. But that's what you have. So that's what's going on. So when I tell you things like the market's going down, it's inflation, the stock market's going down, it's going to crash. That's why. Because there's no way these guys can break even on their money. And if you're looking at, I'm expecting a 20% return on the Bobby Bow company on his tennis shoes. I'm expecting a 20% return. He comes in at 6% because his units are down because of the inflation. People have less money, and his costs went up, but he's trying to hold the $50 where his market's at. So even if he's a good boy doing all that, his costs went up. It's going to affect his 20% return. So at best, let's say he makes 15%. Still nice. He was smart enough not to raise his prices, but he's got a cost issue. And so what does he do with it? He can now, so his stock's going to drop because he's not making the 20%. So he's fucked anyway. But then he can be smart, and I'll go substitute the material. You're using X material to make your shoe. This is cheaper. Go to Y. And maybe he does. Maybe he can. Maybe he can't. That's what you do. Now, I know a lot of automakers were using steel. And then if you notice, the cars are a lot lighter because they switched from steel to aluminum or something. So again, that's substitution. That's what you need to do. That's why they go to robots, because the robots, well, they get sick, but they get sick differently. They get sick because they wear out, and then you need the repairman who has to be an IT guy to fix it. So don't think, oh, the robots don't go on vacation. Yeah, well, they do go down, and then you're fucked. And look at the electric cars; the batteries do burn up. What happens when you run out of silver? Or what happens when you got to pay $500 an ounce for silver? So I think that's why it's staying low. Is these Vanguards and BlackRocks and JP Morgans are keeping the price low for the companies to buy it low, and they must be getting a big kickback to do that. I know if I needed silver, and I would just pay BlackRock or JP Morgan. Well, JP Morgan, keep the price down, and here's your kickback. And I'm sure that's one of the reasons they do it also. But at the end of the day, the price will go up because people will figure out, as what we figured out, is they can't hold the demand is through the roof. They can't hold this price. If I got a Mantle card rookie PSA 8, I put it out for $4 million, I'm gonna get buyers, right? And that's the thing. You can't hold the eBay, the baseball cards down, right? If it's a limited Brady or the limited Jordan, the Jordan rookie's $1.5 million. You can't hold that. You can't come out and say, well, it's gonna be $25 because we'll do derivatives. I mean, you can't do that. So we just need gold to act like a Mantle card or the Jordan card, and we'll be fine, which is what Russia and China want, is coming out with this market that goes around the LBNA, which is London's price fixing, which is the 10 a.m. chart that I always show you. And so once they can go around that, then that's when you're going to see very high gold and silver. And then the people are too stupid here. Well, they're holding the Jordan card down to, $25. I'm not going to buy it. Well, it's Jordan's rookie and 86 Flair. It should be worth more. Yeah, but it's only 25, so they don't buy it at the 25. Then it goes to $1.5 million, and they're all like, oh, fuck, I should have bought the Jordan at 25. I didn't realize it was going to $1.5 million. Believe me, when you bought it, you didn't realize it either. I could have bought it probably, well, I don't know. I don't know if it was a 10. I don't know. Probably a couple hundred when I first, when I got the Montana and the rice is cheap. I probably could have got it for two or 300. I don't know if it was a 10, and it was definitely very hard to get centered, but I probably could have got the Jordan rookie in mint condition. And it was like not too long ago, it was 33,000, and all of a sudden it went to $1.5 million. Now, again, there's different markets. So one guy got $1.5 million doesn't mean it's worth $1.5 million. In other auctions, it's whatever the auction gets. So that's what you got to look at. So that's really what you're looking at. That's why I speak of gold high. That's what they're doing. And so people either think that JP Morgan's going to do it forever, or they don't understand JP Morgan doing it and just think gold doesn't have a value. And I'm going to say that's like assuming Mantle doesn't have a value. Anything Mantle or Bobby Bo or Tom Brady has good value, right? There's demand for those items. And the gold demand's higher than the Mantle demand. Okay. So if you know Mantle's got any Mantle, old Mantle that's in mint condition is going to have a huge value. That's 65, 66, 59, 1961, any of those Mantles, in PSA 9, you won't find a 10, a 9, or an 8. It's going to be, 500,000-600,000 without batting an eye. Mantle has demand. That. Brady, Jordan, they have demand. Probably LeBron, unfortunately. They have demand. Peyton, he's going to have more demand than him, right? You're going to have more Peyton demand than Drew Brees demand. But he did win one Super Bowl. So with that said, that's what you want to buy. And you can see, even if they tried to hold the price down, you see where the price ends up. I mean, this card's, I don't know, it's at least $700. Probably $1,000. Let's say it's $1,000 because we couldn't even find it in eBay. Let's say it's $1,000. If it's $1,000, I paid $5 for it, maybe 10 at the most, because Beckett is pricing it as an ungraded 8. And I look and I go, no, this is a fucking 10. It's perfectly centered. Corners are sharp. The picture's sharp. The back's sharp. I mean, look at this card. It's a beautiful card. No stains. How the fuck will this not get a 10? Let's say it's $1,000. Now, I got it for $5. That's what I'm telling you guys when you go to a card show. This is what you look for. You look for this. You look for a Jordan center like that, ungraded. Like this card, they probably will sell for $20 is worth $1,000. Same with this. This you can probably pick up for $10 because in Beckett it's got no value. But if you can see it's perfect condition, it's $1,000 card you're picking up for 10. Now, yes, you got to get it graded, but that's fine. So when you go to gold and silver, you go, this reminds me a lot of Mantle. I mean, and Peyton and Jordan. Isn't this, wait a minute, there's huge demand for gold and silver. And that's the kicker. If it's Joe Mantle instead of Mickey Mantle, Mickey's up here. Joe Mantle doesn't have a demand. Gold, we know, has this huge demand. That's the point of the price. Mantle's demand's up here, so all the Mantle shit's in the millions, right? 500,000-600,000 for maybe a PSA 7 or something. It's got huge demand. You got a PSA 10, any of the 50s through 60 Mantles, you're a millionaire, multi-billionaire. So, but it's because of the demand, and then people will pay. The demand's there, so that'll raise the price to demand. The demand in gold's through the roof. That's why you're going to get the high price. The fact that you just have to be smart enough to understand the COMEX is price fixing JP Morgan. Obviously, there's shit under the table that we don't know about that they're supposed to keep the price down so the Russias and Chinas can buy it cheap, and the Indians and Saudis and South Africa and Brazil. So there's a reason that's being done. It's so I can buy it cheap, right? Wouldn't you want to buy a Mantle for $200 that is worth $1 million? So basically that's where I see gold is having the same, much higher demand than the Mantle, and same with silver, and it's real money and the competition. So Mantle's competition's who? Joe DiMaggio, Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig, Bobby Bo, of course, Willie Mays. That's his competition. This competition is really gold. It's not the euro, the Swiss franc, because they're all crap. They're all in the same place and they're all going out. So the competition, the only move with that is gold. So you get into gold, and that's the point of it. So that's what's happening, and that's what you try to understand. And then there's a bunch of editorial and documentary, there's a bunch of bullshit. Oh, this is happening. Oh, yeah, I think gold will hit 2,500. These are morons. As soon as you hear that, just turn it off, because they don't get this concept I just told you. They are into COMEX. They believe COMEX is the real price. These are salesmen, not economists or collectors like I am, right? I'm just giving you 10 reasons why gold will go up, why you don't listen to COMEX, why it's like getting the Jordan 1,000,005 card, rookie card, and they offer it for 25. Is that the price, 25? I don't even know if you could do it, because I don't know if you had an auction for that card and you started at 25, it would be 600,000 in a day. People would be bidding it up. So I don't even know you could do it for 25. And that's the thing with gold. Becoming derivatives and doing, I guess, option type of stuff, that you're really not in the market, right? And you're really not allowing the auction to happen. You're determining the auction. It's gold's 1,800. So you're not even auctioning it. You're just selling, and you're not even selling the gold. You're just selling paper. So you're selling something that doesn't exist. You're not allowing the market, the demand side, to bid it up. What the fuck are you doing? I mean, how do you get away with that? That you determine a price and then you don't allow a market, you don't allow bids like everything else. Everything else is bid at, like the grocery store, right? Chocolate cake, you put it out for $9. Now it's bid on, and either nobody buys it at $9, or everybody buys it at $9. So even that. So chocolate cake, it's an auction, right? It's people go in and they go, and that's too much, I'm not buying it, or that's fine. Or you compete with it with things that aren't chocolate cake because it's not healthy and you don't want the sugar. So then you might get something else. Then you'll get the dark chocolate. That's the competition. Is I get the 85, 90 dark chocolate is my competition away from a chocolate cake or M&Ms or something. So you go healthy. But it's all bid. It's all an auction. And the auction is, do you buy it or not? So if you're selling, when I got my oil changed, she said, well, your tires are probably low. I haven't changed them. It's a 2018. I still have the initial tires, and I got 50,000 miles on the car. And half the miles came when I went to Alabama, which was, I don't know, I think that was like 600 miles. So 1,200 of that. But basically, it's $1,000 for 4 tires. Well, okay, your market's too high. Now, if he would have been reasonable and said, we can give you the 4 for 200 or so, that we might have worked. But at $1,000, because they want to charge you like, I don't know, $100 an hour for labor, you're like, fuck, that's ridiculous. So anyway, everything's an auction. You must realize that. Okay. So everything's eBay. You want to buy a Camry, 30,000, it's too high. That's like putting this card out at $5,000. Nobody's going to bid on it. It's too high. I got to figure out where the bid is. So I might put it out at $1,000 or best offer. And that's probably what I would do with this card. PSA 10, $1,000 the best offer. The guy makes me a $800 offer. That's the market. And I go, okay, fine, $800. But when you're at the grocery store, it's the same thing. They're putting the price out, and if it's too high, it stays on the shelf. If it's lower or low, then people buy it. And then if you sell it out, then your price is too low. So again, with this is on the shelf. This is an auction. This is $50. Is that okay? Well, I really like it, and it's 12-year, and it's classic, and it's Canadian, yeah, I'll bid $50 for it. But if you market it 100, no, that's too high. If you market it 10, I'm going to buy 2 or 3 bottles of this. Then you'll run out, and then you'll realize $10 is too low. I can sell it higher, as if I put this out for $100, buy it now, or best offer, and I immediately got, yeah, I'll take it. And then I go, fuck, that was too low. Now I'll come out at 200, and I bought them immediately, 500, until I get to the point where the market is we're at the top of the market. Okay, that's how you learn prices, is you sell it and see if it sells. And if it sells too easily, you're too low. And if you can't sell it, you're too high. And that's what happens. So in our store, Bobby's going to sell the shoes at $50, and we'll see what happens. And if it's too high, if we don't make a sale, then we got to lower our price. Well, it's the Bobby Bow. And but does anybody care? Is it comfortable? Is it the right color? Is LeBron James wearing it, or Tiger Woods wearing it, or Larry Bird wearing it? So that's a lot of what happens. They go, oh fuck, LeBron James is wearing the Bobby Bow, I want it. And that's where people get really stupid, where they want to imitate what somebody else has. So somebody else is sitting there, oh wait, look, Bobby Bow's wearing the Bobby Bow shoe, I'm going to go buy it because he's wearing it. That's where these are people that can't think for themselves. No, I'm not trying to say it like that, but if just because Brad Pitt's wearing a shirt, you don't run out and buy the shirt because Brad Pitt's wearing it. You buy it because that's what you like and it looks good on you and your personality type. So with my personality type, I don't buy things because Tiger Woods wears them. I will never buy Nike because he wears it, because it kind of like, I'm not a sheep. I'm not going to follow the order. I'm a wolf, not a sheep. So I'm going to buy what I want. I'm not going to be told what to buy. And that's what you got to understand about different personality types. So that's what happens. But it's a lot of price dictates everything. But when they fuck with the money, then you're fucked, because you don't know your cost, and then you don't know, you lose your price and people have less money. So you want a stable economy that this is the price I can sell it at. And that's the beauty of gold. You can't inflate gold. Gold cannot be inflated. You can't print more gold. You can find a gold, but it takes years to get it out, and then you print it, and nobody notices it because an extra 1,000 ounces are found in a mine. Oh, okay, great. And it goes into the market, and the market absorbs it because there's so much more demand than supply of gold, and that's what happens. That's why you see, I'm watching Money Heist. They steal 90 tons of it. Why did they steal 90 tons? Because it's gold. I mean, if it was brass in the safe, they wouldn't have the robbery, right? Nobody would care, which almost leads you to believe that you should put the brass. That would have been the best if at the end of Money Heist, the guy laughs at him and says, well, you stole brass, so that's what you got back. The real gold's over here. And that's almost what you should do, is present your fake gold and keep your real gold in a different spot. Like I said, in Switzerland, the guy's got the bank where you go down 5 miles and it can absorb a nuclear bomb. Now that's how you store your money. You don't have to worry about it. But yeah, I mean, everywhere else, that's almost what you should do, is not really leave your gold in the vault, but let the robber think he's stealing the gold, but he's really taking brass. And I've made that comment before, where brass is in the safe and the gold's in the Cool Whip in the freezer, right? So even if you do find my safe, which ain't going to be easy, and you take it, you're not taking gold, you're taking brass. So that's really how to do it. Never let them know what's really going on. So let's see. So we hit on economics pretty thoroughly, and you see how it blends in, right? We do economics with sports cards and the economy and stocks, and it's all together. It all is a market. Everything's a market. Or a market if you're a guy, right? It's who am I going to bid on? Which girl do I want to bid on? I don't mean bid like that, like we're in Amsterdam. I just mean, you want a girlfriend. Who do I bid on? Which girl do I want as my girlfriend? So you're bidding on her. You're taking her out to dinner. You're buying her stuff. Even though Phil doesn't believe in taking care of the girl, he's hurting his competition because girls will think like that, and then he's not going to get maybe the girl he wants because he's going to he doesn't compete with me the same way. So I'm going to take him to dinner, and the girl's going to like that, and Phil's going to lose the girl to me because I'll take her to dinner and buy her a little gift, buy her roses, and that's what she likes. And I have a better chance if that's what I want versus having the girl, I'm not helping her. She's got to pay for her own dinner. Well, that's going to hurt you as far as competition if there's guys like me who will buy the dinner. But it's all a market. No offense, Phil. It's just, just examples. So that's really the whole thing of life is market, substitute, and competition in everything. Sports and markets and gold and baseball cards. And do I buy stocks or do I substitute into gold? And then communism, the communist guy wants to compete and say how good communism is, but it's a battle he can't win because it's already been proven it's not a good substitute or competition for Austrian economics. Austrian economics is in a league. They win the title. They're Alabama. They win the title every year, or Georgia now. And communism's like Duke. They're just not that good. Duke football, and they were pretty good last. So they're like UConn, real bad team. And here's Austrian economics is Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State. So that's the difference. So you can't really compete or you can't have the conversation because there's nothing you can tell me. So if I'm Alabama and you're Connecticut, what are you going to tell me how you can compete? Well, our quarterback, our defense, our receivers, I don't think so. Our coach, no. So there's nothing you can tell me to get me off of Alabama to play Connecticut. To say Connecticut's a better team, that's who you should have your money on. Not that they're playing. They're not playing and you're not laying 40 points. That's a different animal. But if you want to say Connecticut's as good as Alabama, which is what the communist is saying versus the capitalism. The capitalism is proven, and that's why all the good countries have been capitalists with gold standards and not a lot of laws and not, too bad, not too many criminals, laws that'll put criminals away, and the gold standard. And that's what's needed. And that's really the difference. That's really what's happening with that. So it's all competition. But that's it. I mean, everything, there's always competition unless it's your electric company. And it's the reason there's no competition for your electric company is it's so expensive to gain access to the market. So in other words, this guy's producing, Detroit Energy is producing, is producing the electricity, right? Well, it's so expensive because you got to put it in every home and you got to whatever, that the cost to compete is so expensive. The competition will lower the price. They won't be able to make money. So as I said, Bobby will make 20% in the Bobby Bow, gym shoe. But if there's competition, he can't sell it for 50. So I come in with the professor's shoe and I'm going to sell it for 40. And if Bobby goes down to 40 to compete with me, he can't make money. And I can't make money at 40. So we both can't be in it and compete. The pie isn't big enough and the cost is too big. Not that the pie isn't big enough, but the cost is too big that we both, because with competition, the price has to come down to 40, but neither of us can make money at 40. So only one of us can be in it. And if Bobby's in it selling it at 50, I can't make money. If I'm in at 50, I can make money, but we're not going to sell it at 50 because now we'll compete. So we're going to lower the price to 45 and we both can't compete at 45. So you don't enter into the business because it's too expensive. And once the competition's there, neither person can make money. So that's why you have some monopolies in like utilities, but everything else, go buy steaks, go buy hamburgers, go to the restaurants. Big boys, $14. I won't be back there. They can't compete. And if that's what they need to sell it for is a $10 hamburger, and you get fries with it. Okay, big freaking, or I can get a salad with it. Big deal. I mean, if that's what it is, then I can go to McDonald's and get a Big Mac and fries for $7. So, maybe I get a double and maybe it's $10. It still beats your 14. Or I go to the grocery store and get 3 pounds. I get burgers for $5 a pound. I get 3 pounds for 15. You're selling a little thing for 14. I can get all this for 15. The difference is I have to then cook it, but I cook it all together. I'm not cooking. See, so when I cook, to use my productivity, I'll make all 9. I'll broil them and I'll marinate them and cook all 9 together. Eat them, and whatever's left sits in the fridge. So I eat 2. I got 7 in the fridge. And that's the difference. I'm not going to make 2 hamburgers at a time. Okay, let's eat these 2. Because then I got to go through the process and I gotta cook them. So I got to use my energy of the stove. So here I'm using the energy once, not 5 times to make hamburgers 5 times. And now when I'm done here, I'm going to nuke up a hamburger or put it in my omelet. I've been doing that. I did that yesterday. It was great. And I've been making omelets and baking them. So, that's kind of a way to save the money because I know it's $10 at Big Boys. You got to be out of your mind. And I got salad here, so I can make a salad and have, a big hamburger. And it costed me $15 for 3 pounds. So I made 9 hamburgers. So, divide 9, it's $1.50 a hamburger. I'm not even paying $2 a hamburger. You're charging me 14 or 10. I mean, it's insane. But I get they got to pay the wages. They got to pay the utilities. The medical went up and all this shit. They have to pay their workers. So it becomes, so they need to cover their costs. That's the other thing inflation does. So it's not the burgers, but it's the people, it's the cooks, it's the insurance, it's the utilities. It's all the other crap that they got to do. So you say, fuck it. I'll get my 3 pounds. Now, for some reason, it's still cheap. It's still $5 a pound, sometimes $6 a pound where I go at the expensive grocery store, but I know it's premium meat. And it's like the lost leader, right? Everything else is expensive. We'll bring you in with the meat. So you want to buy your hamburger. Now let's buy ketchup, $2 more than everywhere else, or your honeydew. And that's what they're banking on. They do it a lot with milk, where milk was cheap to get you in the store. Oh, I need milk because you run out of it. And then they do all the other stuff. And it's funny, I haven't bought milk in 2 years now because you're not supposed to. It's very bad for you. And so therefore, with my eggs and my coffee, I use half and half. And that's it. I don't have cereal anymore because of the carbs. So like I said, the worst carb I have is pita bread. I'll put it in the frying pan with olive oil or butter. And that's the worst carb I have, but it's really not too bad. But normally I have the hamburger. It's in an omelet or it's just nuked. I don't put it in a bun. Don't need it in a bun. That's carbs. So again, it's not bad, not good for you. Let's see. So anyway, anything else, Bobby? So I think that's it. We'll get into the football draft. We'll get into the basketball. That's a real clusterfuck, the basketball. Because again, it's I want to hit the pool and I want to eat. I don't know that. That's why football works. It's once a week. Baseball is a very quick. You look at the pitchers, you go, okay. And I'm looking at Verlander, betting him, figuring he's going to get 7 or 8 innings in, where some of the other ones with the high ERA aren't. So, but I can kind of analyze. I can kind of analyze those in an hour, right? Boom. Who's pitching? Let's see their bullpen stats. And I can get all that quickly on Yahoo stats. Boom. Okay. Basketball, I bet you I could do very well in it. I just have to see. But it's the logic in football, the defense. Are they home favorites or home dogs or road favorites or road dogs? I don't know. I can do that. That would be a bit much to really, because I got to check all that. So that becomes very difficult. But that's it. So I mean, that's what I have to do with basketball. But then you got the guys sitting out, which you don't know. You're assuming Mahomes is playing for Kansas City, and he does. And imagine you're betting the Lakers. Oh, I assume LeBron's playing. Oh, he's sitting out. Well, it's rest day. Poor LeBron can't play in 82 games. He needs to rest. And that's the problem with basketball is you really don't know the rest. Plus, the refs are even more crooked than they are in football. So it's you got to be very careful with that. I guess they had the All-Star game. I mean, it's like, oh, who cares? Again, an INFJ. It's if you're not going to do it right, I'm not going to watch it. I used to watch the NBA All-Star game, and it was great in the 70s. And you'd have Kareem on one team, and whoever, Bill Walton on the other, and the whole thing was very good. Or baseball was the best All-Star. You had Mays and Clemente and Aaron and Bobby Bowen on one team, and on the other team you had Kaline and Mantle and Yastrzemski and Frank Robinson and Brooks Robinson. I mean, then it was a real all-star game, and you got to see everybody at once. Now it's so watered down that there's no interest. See, they don't understand they're screwing themselves. So I think what happens, let's use economics for baseball. Baseball, the demand is here. And they don't know, they sell their tickets here, nobody goes. Then they're saying, well, you know what? Let's shorten the innings. Let's have a pitch clock and big bases. No, that's not going to raise demand. So what you have is there's no Bobby Bo, a.k.a. Willie Mays, on there to build demand. This is the problem with baseball. The demand's here. There's no player that you want to go see, so you don't want to go see it. You don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck about the Tigers or the Cubs or any of those teams. I don't care about them. I don't even care about baseball too much anymore. I don't really watch the playoffs. They're on all these strange channels. And I'm very rarely betting on them. So you have ticket prices up here. You got all these commercials. You have long games because of that, and there's no demand. So you need to fix it. In lieu, football has this demand because of the betting. So football's up here. And they're pretty good at meeting market. They're pricey to go to a little bit. It's taking too long, so you're kind of hurting demand a little bit with, let's go away for instant replay for 5 minutes while they look at a play that should take 5 seconds to evaluate. Either you get it or you don't. Either the guy was out of bounds or he wasn't. You had a ref 3 feet away. He says he's out of bounds. He's out of bounds. End the story. That's how it should be. This getting it right socialist crap is just making the game worse and worse and worse. I think they're trying to drive us to soccer, which is even more boring. But that's what you got. So you got more demand for football. Baseball's down here, hockey's down there, and basketball, I think you have a little bit more because you have players you want to see, like whatchamacallit, like LeBron, like see in the day you had Jordan, Bird, Magic, Kareem, Isaiah, Barkley, Karl Malone. You had people, you wanted to see these players. You don't have it now. You do have LeBron's on his way out, and then you got Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. But I'm not really turning on a game to see Klay Thompson. Maybe Steph Curry, maybe, and I guess he's injured. But I'm not really turning it on to see these foreign guys that I can't even pronounce their names. I'm not watching that. I don't. I saw the Detroit game while I was at the casino. I was playing poker and the Pistons game's on. There's this guy I couldn't even pronounce his name. He's a big guy and he's shooting from the corner and he's shooting 3-point shots. And you're like, who's this idiot? That ain't gonna make me turn it on. You just need that start. You always need the Mantle, the Bobby Bowe, the Mays, the Barry Bonds, the Montanas, the Bradys, the Mahomes. You have to have it because you want to watch it. Baseball, they don't have any players, and half of them are Latin Americans. You can't even pronounce their name. You don't know who's who. Altuve and Verlander. Okay, that's it. I can't name half these players, nor am I interested, I'm not tuning in to see Altuve. Maybe Verlander, but he was in Detroit for years. And I didn't go see him then. So I just don't care. But baseball is just too boring. It's too long. I just checked the score, but I'm not going to watch 9 innings. But having a pitch count and having the runner go from second on, and so you're in the 10th inning and the runner gets second. He didn't have to earn it. It's not a reward. He just went to second. So that's kind of weird too. So that's not going to make me watch. That's not going to raise demand. So they don't understand. They need to get demand up, but they don't know what to do. So they're trying all this stuff, but that's not going to raise demand. All right. I've got to make that phone call. I will see you soon tomorrow. www.teaserking.com. You get my email if you have questions, comments, stock market, gold, any of that. Gold will go through the roof once they let it go to a market, just like this card. Once they let it go to market, they stop interfering, gold will go through the roof, which is fortunately the BRICS countries are doing that for us. All right. Have a great day. I am off. www.teaserking.com. I will see you tomorrow, and we'll just mostly the current news and the gold, and it's soon. It's very soon. It's going, but we got to get it off the price fixing end of the market. Once we get to the market, the demand is already there. That's why it's going to really go, and it's the only thing where there isn't a free market. All right, everybody. Have a great day. Bobby, Phil, take care. Grega. All right, everybody. Take care. Have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow.